So uncool. They find a way to slip the knife right between the ribs, right?
Right between the ribs. You know who never slips a knife right between your ribs?
Who's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to PixelLit. My name is Kevin. And with me, as always, is Phil.
Stabba stabba.
Stabba stabba. And today, we are continuing our reading, recapping, and reviewing of Resident Evil Caliban Cove by S.D. Perry. So, yeah, this is a fun book.
I'm enjoying this.
It's a fun, short little book, and it's a nice romp through a zombie sci-fi horror story. And I give S.D. Perry a lot of credit to basically carve something completely new out of the cloth of the Resident Evil verse and make it enjoyable to the point where I'm like, I wish this was one of the games.
I 100% agree. Every time basically every chapter of this, I've gone, this would have been a good game. Why didn't they make this a game? This is pretty good. Like, this could have. She gets the branding just right.
Yeah.
While also instilling her own style on it. Like, we're not dealing with Japanese melodrama, horror the way that Resident Evil would continue on to become. But
right.
For someone's own spin on it, it's very recognizable as Resident Evil.
Yes, exactly. So where we left off last time was with Chapter 9.
That's
and
right.
Just as a recap of what happened prior, basically, Rebecca Chambers, in case you're just joining us for some reason for this episode, Rebecca Chambers joined up with this rogue group of STARS agents who are trying to uncover what's going on at a place called Caliban Cove in Maine, which is a umbrella facility where they think there is the leader of the STARS group, David Trapp. He thinks that there's some sort of goodies there for their investigation into how deep the umbrella and STARS and general corruption goes. So Rebecca joined up. They try to do a sneaky invasion of Caliban Cove, and that did not work at all.
No.
Their boat got flipped. They had to swim to shore, and then they got shot at by zombos with guns.
They sure did.
They sure did.
They cut straight to was it 4 when they first started using guns, or was it 5?
Well, I know in 4 they were using weapons and throwing things.
Yeah,
they were armed, and there was a dude with a chainsaw.
That's true.
There's the guy with the chainsaw and the bag on his head.
Yeah. Oh, that guy freaked me out. Yeah. So we skipped ahead in an era in this novel. The first era of Resident Evil was very strict in terms of its zombos. Right. And we're in the second era here for this one with shooty zombies.
Yeah, and you know what? You could say that the transition was Nemesis, who is a monster who uses guns against you, notably a rocket launcher.
Yeah, that one's kind of hard to miss. Nothing subtle about that one.
They've basically escaped the gunfire, and they've made their way into one of the locked up buildings. It's like and they found all these computer terminals, and their hacker and marksman Steve, he's a dreamboat, as we found out.
He can do it all, can't he? That's Steve.
He can do it all. He's on the cover of Tiger Beat. In
the cover of Zombie Beat.
So in Chapter 9, they're in this room, and Steve is looking up information on what's been going on, and they've been giving the infected basically IQ tests, it seems like. And they have a series of IQ tests, so like where they go up in terms of how smart the zombies are at problem solving.
Yeah.
So red being the lowest, and then green, and all that stuff. And one of the things that happens is all the computers, they just shut down, and a riddle appears on the screen.
Yeah. Another riddle.
Another riddle. It wouldn't be Resident Evil without riddles.
It truly wouldn't.
The riddle that pops up is: the man who makes it doesn't need it. The man who buys it doesn't want it. The man who uses it doesn't know it.
Yeah.
And for those of you at home, do you know what the answer is?
Tick, tock, tick, tock. Kevin, is it a coffin?
It is a coffin.
It's a coffin.
It's a coffin.
But they go with casket, or is it the other way around?
They start with casket, and that doesn't work, and then they try coffin.
Yeah.
Which
fine. Yeah.
Fine. I mean, if I was writing programming a riddle into a computer, I probably would have made them both work.
Sure.
Just to, because that's kind of a bullshit.
Right. Well, I think this is actually a really good example of Perry taking something that wouldn't have worked as well in a game and putting it into the book, and vice versa. The puzzles that we see in Resident Evil games, as we found out in the first book, don't always translate.
They do not.
No. And so but a riddle in a book works. Even if you know what the riddle is, you can enjoy watching people try to figure it out. But it wouldn't have worked as well in, this type of game.
Right. So, exactly.
She knows that she needs to get some puzzles in there and that kind of thing, but she's also smart enough to know the whole, sword key in the sword lock thing isn't quite as compelling when you're not actually running around looking for the damn thing.
Right, exactly. So they, after answering it, they kind of before answering it, Karen and David basically come back, and they have a piece of paper that gives a lowdown on the way the Tri-Squads engage with people. And it's very convenient for if you're walking around the island, because they find out that there's usually two teams of Tri-Squads, an A team and a B team, and the B team won't fire or engage until A team has been destroyed.
Right.
So the B teams,
they're permanent backup.
They're permanent backup. So the B teams are just kind of sitting there, just waiting for the A team to fall apart.
Right, exactly. So, and that's another great example of just in games in general. It's wow, these people sure did leave a lot of easy to find notes hanging around that provide convenient clues.
Right,
cool.
Exactly. They find out that once they answer the riddle, though, they get some information on how there's a few other tests that they have to solve in order to access the information that's been hidden away, that's been squirreled away for them. Right. Tests 4, 7, and 9, blue to access data. So they are basically understanding what to do next. That's it's like the little lowdown chapter of this section here.
It's kind of a safe room sort of moment in the book, isn't it?
That's what I was searching for. It's basically like the safe room music is playing right now.
And they're getting a minute to actually go through the notes and say, okay.
You're sitting there reading documents. They're in they're in the inventory screen right now.
That's they are rearranging things. Turn it vertical. Maybe no, that's no good. That's pretty much in universe what's happening.
Yeah. So they decide to split up. So John and Karen are going to be on one team. David, Steve, and Rebecca will be on the other team, and they're going to split up and try to solve these tests as quickly as possible. So first we follow what's his name, David, and Rebecca and Steve.
Yeah.
As they run through, they basically they run through there's all these buildings, and I feel like the way the buildings are set up is they're kind of like it's like a long stretch, and they're like on either side of, there's like 4 and 4 or something like that is the way I was picturing it in my head.
An actual map wouldn't have hurt in a moment like this.
Yeah, an actual map, like, you can publish a map in a book.
Right.
I wouldn't
Tolkien
have mind.
Did it. Why not you?
Tolkien did it. We can stand to have a half page dedicated to a map.
Yeah.
Just give us figure
blocks. Make it
figure
easy.
A, just to help describe it. A picture is worth 1,000 words here.
Right, exactly. Just to help us out. But it is kind of, I did find myself just going, all right, fuck it. The buildings are around. Got it.
There's buildings and they're like, and I could feel my brain hurting where they're like, all right, you two are going to go diagonally over to this building. We're going to go over to this building. And I'm like, all right, wait, hold on. God damn it.
It gets a little technical at this point.
Anytime you want to lose me as a reader, start explaining layouts and logistics of buildings to me.
Now you had 3 degrees north by northeast, and I will watch the sun set and base my next movement on that. And you're like, great. Great. I'm going to light some incense and go to sleep.
I would read a Tom Clancy book and just skip pages. I would just read the book and be like, he's still talking about the fucking plane.
I've actually never read. Now, I was thinking about this the other day because, when you think about things like Splinter Cell and stuff, that's Tom Clancy worlds. We know there's books based on that. I've never read a Tom Clancy book, so I figure we'll probably get to it eventually. But
yeah. The only one that I think he wrote, the Tom Clancy book that is based on a video game that Tom Clancy actually wrote, I think, is Rainbow Six.
No kidding. Okay.
And the length is very much Tom Clancy. It is Rainbow Six is a big fucking book.
It's gonna take us a couple of months. That's what you're saying.
That's like a 10 episode
right
beast.
Now they do, while they're describing all the buildings and everything like that, they seem to be like preoccupied with basically the hypotheticals of like, are zombos out there? Like, are we sitting ducks out here?
Right. Yeah. They so they do run across so the team A, so your Davids, your Rebeccas, your Steves, they dart through the dark and they manage to get into the building that they intended to get into. Is basically the way I'll say that.
Yeah, pretty much. They succeed.
They succeed. When they get in there, though, they find a gigantic pile of decomposing bodies.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And Steve immediately throws up.
I love it. What's that? Oh, bleh. Like it is basically that.
The description is grotesque.
It is. Holy shit, she can write some gore.
I'm trying to find the exact... Oh, here we go. David saw that there was no way to be certain. The bodies had started to melt into one another, the blackened, shriveling flesh of the stacked corpses blending and pooling from the humid heat. Maybe 15, maybe 20. Retching. Steve stumbled away and threw up.
What the fuck? like it's enough to describe decomposing bodies and exposed organs and bones and shit, but they're like, to literally say that the heat is causing them to melt together, like, not literally obviously, but basically the corpses are liquefying in a giant pile. That's pretty revolting. It's really good.
It's pretty revolting. So that's where we leave them.
Right. And what a place to leave them.
Now we have in our event Now we have our adventures of Karen and John sexually harassing her.
And this is the real meat of the story. I think this is what we've all been waiting for. This is the truth. This is what we wanted. Good God. All right. I want to point out real quick. We have discussed Perry likes to write some thirsty characters.
Yes.
And what we're not dealing with is actual sexy times. Like, I don't think he's actually into her. It's just like how he quips and, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it's just them covering their own area and him making the stupidest, like he says something about, I'll go in first. It's the way I like it.
Here we go. Yeah. John couldn't help himself. My women always go first, he whispered, though I prefer it when we go together, if you know what I mean. I highlighted that and wrote LOL next to it.
I kind of wish Karen would have like looked at him and gone, no, I don't know what you mean. Explain it in full detail, please.
And then in a thought, in a italicized thought that John has like a paragraph down, it says, it's my duty to help her lighten up.
Yes. John is every white male stand-up comedian I've ever shared a stage with.
John is black, by the way.
Is he? Good. Keep that in. Keep that in. I want that. I want everyone to hear that. That was just like the whole, like, I'm healing her with my shitty jokes. Like, yeah. I'm making her better.
Smile, sweetheart.
Right. And it's not, and the thing is it's not so malicious as what kind of stuff, obviously, that gets talked about nowadays, but it hasn't aged well.
No, it hasn't aged well. And also, I mean, Karen and John have known each other for a long time.
Yeah, that's
from what
true.
I understand. But also, it's... she nodded briskly, stepping back to let him by. So basically, the discussion is who's gonna lead, like,
right.
And ultimately, the decision is John's gonna go out first. He's gonna cut through the courtyard first, and then Karen's gonna follow. And John, as he leaves, he's briefly considered telling her that he'd greet her at the door wearing nothing but a smile.
Yeah, but then he goes, nah, gotta be professional, you know?
But he decided against it. They'd worked together for almost 5 years, and he knew from experience that he could only go so far before she got pissy. Besides,
before HR got involved.
Besides, it was a good line, and he didn't want to waste it.
Oh, Johnny boy. That's a good line. That's comedy gold right there.
That's comedy
Don't fuck
gold.
Around. You save it. Savor that joke.
John,
it's like a
well-cooked
steak.
Yeah.
Oh, John, buddy. You're healing the world with comedy, my friend.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So basically what happens next is John, while the other team was able to get to their building and there's basically nobody fired on them, it's the immediate opposite happens. John is going the other way. He's immediately under fire by a tri-squad shooting their little machine guns at him.
Right.
He manages to take 2 of them down, and he gets inside a building, and he's like sitting in the building, under the cover, trying to, not get shot, and he turns around and he sees 2 zombies just standing there staring at him.
Yeah.
And he realizes, and it's a good moment, he starts putting it together, be like, oh, okay, this is what they mean by the B team won't engage. This is the B team for that tri-squad.
Right.
So he basically
here
yelled,
they are.
Here they are. So like Karen starts shooting at the remaining zombie, and he tells her, don't kill it, because the other zombies like won't activate basically as long as one is still standing. Right. So they end up killing all of them though.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Eventually they end up killing all the 5 that they found. And Karen, when she gets to the building where John is, her first line is, "Hey, John, was it good for you?"
Good for you, Karen.
Good for you, Karen. You know, give it right back to him.
Yeah. Now, the whole thing with the killing zombies in a certain order thing, doesn't that just feel like actual game mechanics to you?
It
like
does.
That,
it feels like I was like, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised there hasn't been a Resident Evil that's been like, oh no, you got to kill the zombies in this order to solve the puzzle.
Right. That has never happened. It's good. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know for sure. I mean, Perry must be a gamer on some level, but
yeah.
It's just, I mean, that just felt like straight up gaming mechanics.
And she wrote for the Uncharted series, right? You said?
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be. And you know what? And this is off topic, but you know how there's games, there's so many games that are like throwbacks to like 90s era games. I feel like the Resident Evil, like a Resident Evil fixed camera style game, there hasn't been like a nice big throwback to that, to like the original RE1 and 2 style game. I mean, I've seen them out there and they were usually
right. Nothing that's really gotten people excited, though.
Nothing that's gotten people excited.
Yeah.
But that was just this is a thought that I had.
It was such a that's a great example of a mechanic that I feel like some people forgot about. Like,
yeah,
Resident Evil is like a lot of games from that time period, especially that time period where we were still getting really comfortable with 3D graphics.
Yeah,
and you had to deal with, point of view and everything like that. And whereas it's like a lot of games where you talk about how good it is, how amazing it was, and God, I loved the original, it was so good. And if you had to play it now, you'd probably throw your controller against the wall because the twin stick thing and the point of it's not the way it inspired a lot of stuff, but it's definitely not the way we do games now.
No.
Things are easier now.
That's true.
So
things are easier now.
Oh, way easier. Yeah.
Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, Silent Hill,
Fatal Frame.
No, Parasite Eve was turn-based during its combat, I think, right?
Yes, it was. I never played that one. Fatal Frame, that was big into the fixed camera angle in certain...
what was it? Is Clock Tower?
Clock Tower.
Is that another one? Is the one with the scissor dude?
Yeah, that was Clock Tower.
That was Clock Tower. Yeah.
That was a time, like that was a real era there. Survival horror is not what it used to be.
No. I mean, and there's still plenty of great horror games coming out, but that specific, in fact, friend of the show, Hot Cider, James, just did a Twitter thread on Resident Evil 4's user interface, and how it was the first Resident Evil game to have the health and the bullets on the screen. So prior to that, you didn't know what your ammo situation was or your health unless you paused the game.
Right.
The only way to check was on your inventory screen.
I didn't even think about that, but it's absolutely true. Oh,
and
that's so funny.
So he did this Twitter thread about what's it going to look like in the Resident Evil 4 remake. Is it going to be more like like Resident Evil 7, where you had the bullets on the screen, or is it going to be some combination of the old RE4 and like the new, where it does show you the health, because Resident Evil 7 I don't think had the health on the screen either.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see how
they've bounced back and forth.
They have. There's never been like a really, since Resident Evil 4, I don't think there's been a really solid way that they have decided to show information on the screen.
honestly, I mean, for all of my bitching about Resident Evil 5 and to a lesser extent Resident Evil 4, what you can't say, you know, they've tried a lot of shit in that franchise. Yeah. So you got to give it to them. They have made efforts to keep things fresh. Now sometimes they fail so hard they fall flat on their face. Yeah. But they have tried. So that's better than many franchises out there.
I am curious to see, speaking of horror, how I mean, there's the Dead Space remake is coming out, and I know that the Dead Space remake is probably going to do the same thing that Dead Space did, which was you know, the spine on the back on Isaac's back would be the health.
Yeah.
And you can see the gun's bullet counter on the back of the gun. The other thing I'm interested in is Callisto Protocol. Are they going to do something similar to the way, because that's being developed by, the development is being led by the guys who made the original Dead Space. And are they going to do something similar with health, where it's like, it's a minimal, extremely minimalist UI?
Now, are they throwing around those terms like spiritual successor and stuff like that with this?
Yeah. It's very much, Callisto Protocol is, they've shown some stuff from it already from recently. It's going to be out in December. Somebody said December is that's when you schedule games to be pushed back.
Right. Yeah, probably.
So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But that was a tangent related to user interface and hot cider.
Hi, hot cider.
Not the beverage.
No.
His name's James.
Our delicious friend.
Our delicious friend, James.
Yeah.
Go check out his YouTube channel and his podcast, Quest and Show. By all means. Anyway, they make it in.
They make it in.
They make it in, and the last line of the chapter is, and after a beat, they both started to laugh.
Right. We're friends.
We're friends. We cut back to Rebecca, Steve, and David, and they're still recovering from the grossness.
They're not feeling so hot.
They're not feeling so hot. No. David basically is like, all right, you two wait here. I'm going to go, solve this puzzle or whatever. And while he's gone, we get some moments between Rebecca and Steve.
Yes, moments with a capital italics.
Capital italics.
We're getting really cutesy here with these two. Do they hold hands, right? Like
not yet. They haven't held hands yet.
Not yet. They do.
Not yet. They will though. They exchange a glance, lingering a few beats longer than a more casual exchange. It's described as. And then Steve looks away, and Rebecca's thinking to herself, there was a definite attraction there, and it seemed to be mutual. And then she interrupts her own thought with, and it's only about the worst time and place to consider it, her mind snapped. Secure that shit, pronto.
Yeah, you know what? Correct,
Rebecca.
Correct. She gets really Space Marine on herself.
Stow that shit, Hudson.
Exactly. How do I get this out of this chicken shit outfit? Like, she's trying. Bless her heart. She's trying to be a Marine. That's all.
She's trying to be a Marine, not just any Marine. Marine. Colonial Marine.
A colonial Marine, exactly. Hundreds of years before that will be necessary.
She is stowing that shit.
She is indeed.
So they're looking around this room, and they find a journal entry from a dude, Tom Athens, and they find out from the journal entry that there was a spill there was an issue in block D, room 101, and that's the room that they were injecting people.
Yes.
And that's like, and that's relevant information.
Absolutely.
And they basically, they were like, all right, well, if we're in A, they finally figure out, like, all right, we're in A. That means, oh, well, Karen and John went to D. And then they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. They have
Meanwhile,
they have a Luke Skywalker. That means they'll be home and, running.
Yeah, the poor Karen and John, or Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru for those.
And they say, and the thing is, they emphasize, they keep going, well, look, if it's about, wounds and stuff like that, we know they'll be safe, they'll be fine, but we better go check on them right now. And I just imagine them cutting to the two of them just licking the walls, talking about the snozberries, taking like snozberries. They're going to be safe. I know it's fine. Oh, this wall is delicious.
They're professionals. They'll be fine.
They know
like, somebody left an open bottle of Coke.
Huh? It's still fizzy too. Have you look at this Coke? Try this Coke. It's still good. No, don't worry about wiping it. It's fine. Everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead. What are we gonna catch?
Come on.
And then Willy Wonka does his little thing, and the Oompa Loompas come out
and Karen just starts inflating into a horrible pustulating blueberry. Starts floating away. But I get ahead of myself.
We get ahead of ourselves. And maybe by then I'll have a Oompa Loompa song thought out in my
Oh, that'll be good. You need to do that, Kevin.
I know. I'm really hoping.
You have no choice.
An Oompa Loompa song. I'm not sure I will. Meanwhile, David is solving a puzzle. Good.
Well done, David.
Good for you, David.
We're all proud of you.
He basically, and what's hilarious is that they say that this is like the dumbest puzzle of the puzzles that they have to solve.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, the puzzle that is given is like, this is not the dumbest puzzle.
This isn't bad. I mean, this is pretty tough. It's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science, but basically he finds a chessboard and a series of numbers.
Right.
And Trent's clue lets him remember that it's something about letter and number reversal. So it's like A is 26, and then he figures all the numbers out, and the letters spell out Rex marks the spot. And so he's looking at the chessboard, and he says, well, Rex is Latin for king. So he touches the king, and that solves the puzzle. Basically, he gets it.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good puzzle.
I know, because I would be in there looking for a dog. I'd see Rex marks the spot, and I go, here, boy. Where's Rex?
Who's got Rexy?
Rexy's got the key, doesn't he?
Rexy's got a key.
I've been searching. No dog at all.
No dog. I had to turn around. I thought my dog was in the room with me, but he's not. Sometimes he just sits so still, and he curls up in a little ball, and he's like so still that you forget that he's there. But he is not there right now.
Not this time. Not this time.
So one of the things that I love about S.D. Perry is that she writes in her all the stuff takes place in real time. So when we cut back to Karen and John, they've already done the stuff that people like we cut back to them after having found room 101.
Right. We don't have to go back and forth.
We're not. She doesn't jump in timeline when she writes. She keeps everything very linear in time, which I appreciate. I know some writers can. She did it with the first book too. I know some writers will play fast and loose with time, in terms of like Like, oh, this scene, be like, oh, this scene took like 30 minutes ago in this scene, and never. But this is good. I like this. I like this formatting. Basically, it's after they've already been in the room, and Karen Karen and John are just kind of sitting there shell shocked about what they found in the room. And they're just kind of like thinking and talking about like, that was fucked up.
Right. Oh, that sucked. Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
What do we do now?
So they found they basically found the room where people were being injected. There's gurneys, there's blood everywhere. It's gross. There's just piles of needles in the sink.
It is really, it's surprising how, when based on the descriptions that Perry does here, how infrequently this is the setting in an actual Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get a lot of rooms that are just covered in corpses and blood and
right.
It's genuinely surprising.
Yeah. So they're basically just kind of chilling out in the hallway. Yeah. And David, the other team walks in. They're like, hey, come back here. And meanwhile, Karen's eye is itching.
Oh, yeah. Don't miss that part.
Small detail that's mentioned a couple times within the scope of like a dozen paragraphs or more, maybe 20 paragraphs. There's like a couple, like one or two sentences about Karen's eye itches.
Right.
Don't forget that.
And she rubbed it for a second. You're like,
she rubbed it.
Oh
God.
Oh boy. Karen.
So basically, David meets up with John and Karen, and he's like, "Whatever you do, don't go in room 101." Right. They're like, "Oh, we already went in." It wasn't a big deal. We didn't touch anything. We don't have any open wounds. It's fine.
Yeah, we're fine. I was like, no, well. Damn, I wish you'd said something. We were doing shots of blood. I don't know. Damn.
We're doing blood shots.
Yeah, like you do.
I did not think of any.
I would have done the same thing.
Chapter 11. But before we get to chapter 11, we're going to pause and have a word from our sponsors.
Please don't make me read this. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Spaniel's Goat Blood Wine, now featuring 30% more goat blood. Spaniel's, grab a bottle and grab the floor.
And we're back, thanks to today's sponsor, Spaniel's Goat Blood Wine.
So good.
So good. What would you pair that with, by the way, Phil?
I find that the location of the goat in question when you sacrifice its blood is an important distinction, but in general, pepperoni pizza.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very good.
Now if it's only a champagne goat blood if the goat is sacrificed in the Champagne region of France, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And some people don't realize, but it actually doesn't matter where the goat was born as long as it was sacrificed in Champagne. Yeah.
That's good to know.
That's the key.
That is the key. So chapter 11.
Chapter 11.
We get some...
What a good chapter.
It's a good chapter. We get some more unhingedness from Dr. Nick.
Oh, absolutely we do. I love he just like he's still just hopping back and forth with that manic energy, isn't he?
He is hopping mad. He is basically has moments of clarity and then just he is on the verge of frenzy other times.
Right. I love that he's like he starts to realize like, oh, these guys, I better hide. Like I actually probably should hide. That would be better. And then in the same breath,
I'll strangle them myself.
I'll kill them all. Just That's how you know you're dealing with a high quality standard of villain. It's just never disappoints.
So in this chapter, Dr. Nick basically recounts how he killed everybody.
Right.
The order in which he killed people, all that fun stuff. And then he's also having trouble remembering all the details. Because some of the murders happened when he was in just an absolute frenzy.
Right.
And he doesn't actually remember them until he like gets back into that mindset where he basically had a scalpel and was just slitting throats.
Right. Yeah.
And he was just covered in blood at one point.
It's an exposition dump that actually is dumping a bucket full of blood. Like
it's a bucket of blood dump. It talks about how once he found Ammon, he like basically carved him up. He was the one who put him up on the door with the fishing wire and all that stuff.
Yeah, we get the full. If you wanted to know how the hell all this shit ended up this way, oh, believe me, you will find out. Don't worry.
You will find out. There's no like mystery behind any of it. It'd be like, no, this guy, Dr. Nick, literally put the bodies in the pile in that one room and also strung up the other dude on the door.
She does everything but give you the time codes. Like, it's not coy. It's pretty clear.
It's clear in its brutality.
Absolutely.
There's no guessing.
No.
This isn't the end of the thing.
No, we don't. We're not going to have like long discussions and arguments.
We're not going to have long
drinks.
discussions as to whether Keith David is the thing or not.
Right. He's not.
We're just not. He's not. They're both human, but they die. That's it.
That's everyone knows.
Spoilers. Obviously. Everyone knows. David Cronenberg's The Thing.
Masterpiece.
That's a deep cut. That only works. That you don't. You're not gonna know that reference unless you listen to It's Probably Not Aliens.
Probably, yeah.
They called The Thing David Cronenberg's.
Cronenberg's, yeah. You should listen to.
You should listen.
It's Probably Not Aliens.
It's a great show.
It's a great show.
So they moving on. They're doing more tests. There's this test where they have all these colored pieces in front, and they have to lay them out in order, and they all have a letter on them.
Yeah,
and it's a rainbow. So at first he put some Roy G. Biv, but then they figure out that it's like, oh, it's the months. You gotta the letters.
I liked that one. That was one I would have actually probably been chomped on by zombies still trying to fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
So and then John just goes, oh, it's the months, so we put them in order M, J. And you're like, oh, I'm an idiot.
God, there it is.
Thanks, John.
And then, if you were doing it, you would be standing there staring at the puzzle, and in the distance, you would be hearing X gonna give it to you.
Right.
Wonder what that means.
The music's distracting, guys. I'm not learning this any faster.
You ever seen that mod for Resident Evil 2 Remake?
Yeah.
Where instead of footsteps, it's X gonna give it to you.
I freaking loved that one. Like that was a meme. Some of these, all right, now look, I'm old, and some of these memes, as you have noticed, if you follow me and Kevin on Twitter, you will see instances of me literally just popping in to go, I don't understand what you kids are talking about. Yeah. and that was a meme I could get fully behind. All of the Resident Evil 2 remake X tropes and memes. I loved that one. That was good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you kids and your memeage, I find quite a chuckle.
R.I.P. DMX, by the way. What was that, last year?
Oh, yeah.
2 years ago? Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So they solve the test, and then there's more funny, thirsty, flirty talk where David says, we should get moving, see how Steve and Rebecca are making out. And then John responds, interesting way of putting it, David. Nice one.
And by the way, while all this is happening, Karen is losing it. Like she's starting to sweat.
Her eye is turned red.
Right.
She's not in good shape.
And they're like, hey, they at one point say, like, you doing okay? And she's like, fine, head hurts. And
eyes itchy.
It's such a great example of, like, in zombie movies, pretty much specifically, where it's like, I'm just holding a rag over my arm for no particular reason.
I'm fine. I'm not bit.
They're over there trying to figure out a riddle. I expected one of them to be like, hey, Karen, you're turning into a real zombie over there. Anyway, I think it's the months when you add up the letters. They just seem really nonplussed. If we were in a team and the biologist had said, there's a really good chance that people, if you're not careful, could catch a horrible disease.
Right.
And I noticed suddenly, out of the clear blue sky, one of our team members sweating and like having headaches.
And eyes are red. All that fun stuff.
That's... Mm-mm.
Meanwhile, Rebecca and Steve are having a tender moment.
Yes, they are.
They're looking up some bullshit about the virus. That's not super important. It's just like, the virus moves faster, which I think we had already established based on one of the Dr. Nick chapters, but now Rebecca knows it, that something about the amplification, which is the speed at which the virus infects somebody, has been increased to a matter of hours instead of days.
Right.
But then they get startled about with John and everybody coming into the building, that they end up holding each other's hands.
They hold hands.
Like, it's so sweet.
Like a couple of seals that don't want to float away from each other.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Anyway, Karen's gonna die.
Anyway,
and
they hold hands, and then they're like, oh, by the way, John says, get your clothes on, kids. You've got company.
Yes.
John, he can't go more than a couple pages without saying something like that.
Oh, John.
He's consistent, at least. He's a consistent character. He is consistent.
That is true. That's just who he is.
We're talking before the show about consistent characterization and how in comic books it tends to be a problem because, characters are handled by different writers. But John is a consistent character in that
pretty consistent.
Sexually harasses constantly.
Consistently awful. Yeah.
Consistently awful.
He's the worst.
He's not great.
No. He's the John Ralphio of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
The worst.
The worst. The worst.
Just the worst.
My favorite bit is when Ben Schwartz basically sings that into Adam Scott's ear and then just keeps leaning on him until Adam Scott fell over.
Yeah.
That is my favorite Jean Ralphio moment in Parks and Rec, where he just keeps pushing Adam Scott over.
I think my favorite John Ralphio bit. This is what in the show will be known as the John Ralphio minute.
Yeah.
I think it was actually the COVID special they did. Where they did all the they put together everyone
like a Zoom
filming
call
from their homes.
Right.
Yeah. And John Ralphio is like doing a commercial for a friend. He just needs and it just ends with him going, "I'm so lonely," and that is something that me and my fiance still quote to each other all the time. I'm so lonely.
It's amazing that in only a few years later, after Parks and Rec ended, that Ben Schwartz would be Sonic the Hedgehog.
Would be Sonic the Hedgehog, and the actress who played Mona Lisa would be a shell with an eye. I'd have that explained to me. Like, remember Mona Lisa from Parks and Rec? That's her as a whatever the name of that anthropomorphic shell is. That did you see? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hold on. It's not Sheldon. It's not so obvious.
But I mean, Jenny Slate is the actress's name.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's Marcel the Shell.
Oh, okay.
And they were these YouTube videos. All right, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, they were these YouTube videos. It's this little talking shell with shoes, and it's really cute, and it's actually really very funny. And it's just like people, it's like a talking head style documentary kind of thing, but you're just talking to this tiny talking shell. And they made a movie of it, and we went to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. Which was great, by the way. And there was a trailer for the movie of this. And I gotta tell you, I don't trust in a world where I was like choked up by the end of a trailer for a goddamn talking shell. I don't know if they're getting better at being emotionally manipulative in trailers, or if I'm losing my goddamn mind. Like, it's getting really bad.
Phil, you're turning 40 this year, and I think
that's true.
I think there's going to be a lot of
degradation.
There's going to be a lot of no. I think the wistfulness is really going to start setting in.
Yeah, I'm absolutely there. I am so soft these days. It doesn't. It takes so little.
It doesn't take much to make me cry.
It takes so little. I don't have a child, and we will watch TikToks, and there will be a little kid just saying something cute, and I'll be like, "Oh, it is so sweet." Everything's going to hell.
Speaking of videos, there was a guy who it was on Reddit today. This is just your in-between chapter update on shit we've seen.
Okay.
There's a guy on Reddit who posted a video. He pulled over because there was a kitten like in the middle of the road, and he was like,
"Oh, I think I know what you're talking about."
And he's like, "Oh man, you can't be out here. You're gonna get hurt." And he goes and he gets the kitten, and then he like looks up, and from the tall grass, just this flock of kittens just emerges and surrounds him, and basically they're all like giving him like the Puss in Boots like kitten eyes and like begging to be picked up by him, and he's like, "Oh, I can't take you all."
Yeah. And then the video cuts to him literally in his car with like 15 kittens. I'm not fucking with you. It's like at least a dozen kittens.
Oh gosh.
They tricked him. They fucking tricked him.
They sent one out, and the guy got his attention, and then the rest bombarded him.
It was cute right up until the moment that it actually felt foreboding. I kind of expected one of them to have a sock full of quarters and just whack him on the back of the head and like, "Get his wallet!" And just
every time he looked up, there was more kittens coming out of the grass.
Ridiculous. Yeah, that was the news of this morning in this household.
That was. Did you see the kitten video? And
yeah,
that was.
Exactly. It was. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Woo! Chapter 12.
Chapter 12. Zombie kittens.
We start with Rebecca could still feel the lingering warmth of Steve's hand in hers.
Oh my god.
God, Steve is going to die, isn't he?
He has to, right? Like he has to. We can't keep him alive.
We can't keep him alive. This is too much of a thing for Rebecca. No, she's got to be a little bit more damaged if she's going to continue on in the Resident Evil verse. We
have to break her.
You can't get good things. You have to just keep the height of your life in terms of mental health was before Resident Evil, before the outbreak started, and it's just downhill from there. Exactly. Have you seen Chris in Resident Evil 8? He is just he's just a jackass in a trench coat walking around with a dumb haircut.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he is completely transformed. No, Rebecca. No, Steve. There's no way Steve's surviving, and the only way this ends is if he dies. Preferably her killing him to save him from himself.
Face. She's gonna have to shoot him in the face.
Right in the face.
The face. And it's gonna be like a moment. I'll get to it later. I'll get to what I think it should be like later when we get to our what are our playing segment. So yeah, basically they do a quick recap as to what the F is going on, and And David's like, "Can you, Rebecca? You're a medic. Can you take a look at what's going on with Karen's face?"
Sure. And it's like David Cronenberg's The Thing, where the face opens up and chomps her skull.
It's just David Cronenberg's The Thing from now on.
David Cronenberg's masterpiece, The Thing.
Yeah. Just like, John Carpenter's Eraserhead.
Or Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather.
That one's actually right, though.
Yeah, I know. I went to film school. I didn't attend.
like George Lucas's Rumblefish.
Right.
Yeah, that's
or Steven Spielberg's Jaws.
Yeah.
Right? Right, guys?
Black eyes like a doll's eyes.
Like a doll's eyes.
200 men went in the water.
We just do a Jaws podcast where we're gonna have
a bonus episode this year where we just have a bunch of people on doing a quint-off.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's get every other YouTuber and podcaster we know. Let's take the Indianapolis speech, cut it up into pieces, and everyone gets a piece of it.
A piece of the Indianapolis speech.
Yeah, we do the USSS Indianapolis supercut. That's genius. No one will care. It's gonna be great.
Write that down.
I will.
Okay. Anyway,
Indianapolis.
We delivered the bomb.
Speech.
God, I love that scene.
I love it too.
Anyway, Karen's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just a headache." And Rebecca's like, "Okay."
Yeah, she just.
Rebecca's a little too. So basically, she's in the middle of inspecting Karen, and is like when they accidentally trigger the test, and there's like an ominous countdown clock associated with this. So they're like, I guess we have to solve it pretty fast. And
we better get on this thing.
Can you guess, listeners at home, what the riddle is? It may have been featured a year or two before in a blockbuster movie.
Right.
The riddle is the St. Ives riddle.
A riddle that I think we've referenced more than once on this podcast.
I think we've actually referenced St. Ives several times.
Yes.
For those who don't recall what it is, as I was going to St. Ives, I met a man with 7 wives. The 7 wives had 7 sacks. 7 sacks held 7 cats. Hold on. Let me switch over to... the 7 cats had 7 kittens. Kits, cats, sacks, and wives. How many were going to St. Ives? I had to slip in a little Jeremy Irons at the end there.
Yeah, that's good.
So basically, they're arguing with each other. There's a hint from Trent that says "don't count," and they finally realize that it's
777.
Yes,
right.
That's the answer. That's how many were going to St. Ives.
Right. Kind of an anticlimactic riddle, but at least they got it right.
So they're actually trying to do the math, and then Rebecca says it's 1. Only one person is going to St. Ives, much like in Die Hard with a Vengeance, when that's one of the riddles, and then what I'm trying to remember that scene. Oh, that he fucks with him in that scene. He's like too late, and then there is actually no bomb in the trash can or something like that.
Yeah. What a weird movie.
It's such a weird movie, but I kind of like it.
I liked it too. I haven't seen it in forever though. I admit.
It's really held on the charisma of Jeremy Irons and Samuel L. Jackson.
Absolutely.
It's really held together on that.
As far as I'm concerned, Jeremy Irons and Alan Rickman are related thanks to that franchise.
Yeah, they are. Rest in peace, Alan Rickman.
Oh yeah.
God, we miss you, Alan.
We miss him.
We miss him so much. Yeah. So they solve the puzzle, and now Rebecca can turn her attention back to Karen. She grabs a torch, which I found it interesting that S.D. Perry refers to flashlights as torches, which is a British thing to call your flashlight a torch. Which I just thought I just picked up on that.
It's an interesting detail. Yeah.
So she's she's still examining Karen, and then they put it together that Karen accidentally touched the dried blood in the room 101, the room of rooms, and then I guess rubbed her eye or something like that. And that's why her eye is getting more and more infected. So Karen is infected with the Zombo virus. Maybe. They're actually not even like... What's funny is like, there's a chance that she's not, but let's assume that she is.
Right.
And they figure out, Rebecca realizes that if they were working with this virus on site, they probably have an antivirus or a vaccine or something on site as well. Because that would be the only, correct way to do it. You shouldn't be working with a virus that you didn't have a cure for. Right?
Which is a terrific idea if you're in a medical area that is being run properly and not full of dead people. Yeah. And zombies with machine guns.
Yeah.
So.
And the only man left on the island, or in the cove rather, is has fond memories of slitting everybody's throat with a scalpel.
Right. Yeah. In that situation, I wouldn't hold out hope. But sure, give it to him. Let him hold out.
So they're like, we're gonna go. Okay, fuck it. We're gonna get into the main lab, and we're gonna find the cure. And not that cure.
No. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they in the distance they hear Friday I'm in love. Saturday night.
That would be a twist that would be worth it. God damn it.
It's like, there's no cure. It's just the British band, The Cure.
The Cure. Oh no, Karen. Oh well, Karen's dead. Great.
Well,
great.
We can dance along.
Yeah, that'd be fine. She would have wanted us to.
She would have wanted us to. Did they also do what? I'm trying to think of their other song. Did they also do "Everybody Wants to Rule the World"? Is that the?
No, that's "Tears for Fears."
That's "Tears for Fears." Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to confuse my 80s. I guess new wave. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's around the same time period. Yeah.
So, so we have a scene. Basically, the entire thing is John losing his absolute shit.
Yes, John is.
He is not taking this Karen news well.
No, and I've got to ask you this. Now, John, his whole thing is that like they've been working together and they're close friends, and he sees her as his responsibility, and he's blaming himself that he should have been there to protect her and everything like that.
Even though he was there, he was standing next to her. He could have said, "Don't touch the blood," but he didn't.
Right, but he didn't, and that's all very well and good.
Right.
I can't help but think that he is actually upset that he'd been doing all of the inappropriate jokes, and now she's dying.
And now she's dying. They're never going to pay off.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. She's not going to fully enjoy them because she's distracted by her dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's really what we're getting at here.
And he saved a joke for her, and that's
and now I mean, he is in an impossible situation because he has to decide: do I just go ahead and say it because she's gonna die, so she needs to hear it, whether it's the optimal time or not, or do I hold out hope, the impossible dream that we'll have a moment, possibly in her final breath, that I'll be there with nothing but a smile on, and she smiles and dies. That's what he's hoping for?
That's what he's hoping. That's actually his entire character arc.
That's the whole thing, huh? It is. Yeah.
Yeah. He is going to strip naked right before she dies.
Right.
And says, I'm worried nothing but my smile.
Right.
And he smiles at her, and she smiles back. And then she tries to bite his dick off.
Right. Succeeds. The end. Fade to black.
He bleeds out, turns into a zombie.
Yep. Canon. Resident Evil canon.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. Anyway, yeah, he loses his shit on a tri-squad. He blasts them to hell with his Beretta. He basically runs at them while they're firing at him.
Yeah. He has an 80s macho action movie guy moment.
Yeah.
He's basically the one guy in Predator after Jesse the Body Ventura gets killed and he just loses his goddamn shit.
Yeah. What's his name? Bill Duke?
Is it? Oh, yeah, I think so.
Is it?
The guy who he looks like he needs to sleep like a lot.
Is that his name?
Yep, Bill Duke.
Bill Duke pulled that one out of the... Yeah, Bill Duke always looks like he needs a nap.
He does, but goddamn, I love that man.
I love that man. He is. When I see him in a movie, I'm like, he's gonna be a awesome character.
He's gonna be weird, and it's gonna be
weird, a little off-putting. He is 6'4".
That is crazy. That tells you something about the cast of Predator. That he was like, here's this dude who's 6'4", and you don't even notice. Because
you don't notice. You think he's kind of like one on the smaller side, and he is
right. He is absolutely 100% not.
Oh God, Predator. That was a good movie.
God, I love that movie.
I love that movie. So yeah, Karen calms him down after he shoots the shit out of. He murders the shit out of some tri-squad.
He does. He murders the shit out of them. Runs out of bullets.
That was the last tri-squad by their count, though.
Yeah.
Because they found some documentation. Thank you. That's good. That's the end of that. And with that, we finish with our segment tonight. As we reach chapter 13, and we will be finishing up this book next time.
Not much left.
Not much left at all. We only have like 50 pages left.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Caliban Cove. Speaking of Predator, before we get into what we're playing, have you seen the trailer for Prey yet?
No.
So basically, it's set 300 years in the past, and it's a Comanche woman who
I've heard about this. Okay,
was fighting off the Predator.
I have heard.
A new trailer's just dropped a couple days ago for Prey.
I want it to be good.
I really hope it's good. Yeah.
Because there's so much you could do with that. Oh man, I need that to be good. Like, yeah. And both the Predator and the Alien franchise, every now and then they take it back in time.
Yeah.
And it works. There was a one shot of like a medieval knight taking out a xenomorph at one point.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's all kinds of fun shit you can do with it if you don't need to put it in the far, far distant future,
right?
Or the sweaty streets of Los Angeles.
Very sweaty streets.
The super sweaty
with
streets.
Gary Busey and being super sweaty.
Yeah. I need this to be good. Please be good. Please.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
So now we move on to our award-winning segment. What are you playing?
Love it.
So, Phil, what are you playing?
Well, for a minute there, I had actually wrapped up all of the achievements on Vampire Survivors. I had gotten all 105 achievements, and I was feeling particularly hollow inside until you pointed out to me about an hour and a half ago that the update for it just came out. I have 9 more to lock under my belt.
9 more achievements to fight through right now. So
that's going to be happening. But other than that, I actually played a couple of interesting indie games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I played one called The Horror of Salazar House.
Okay, I have heard of it. I don't think I remember it, but I know of it.
Yeah, it's you'd like it. It's a point and click horror adventure sort of title, very inspired by Faith.
Okay, yes. I've seen these graphics. You know what? I've seen it because Erdorf, who developed Faith, I think tweeted out development photos of this as it was being made.
Okay, yeah. It's a very similar style to that. At least visually, gameplay wise, it's like I said, it's kind of a old fashioned dungeon crawly looking adventure point and click kind of game, where you're in this haunted house and you've got to solve some puzzles. It's pretty short, took like an hour or so to beat. It's got like 8 endings. I think I got 4 or 5 of them, but you've got these puzzles to do, and you it's got some of that Alien Isolation style stuff where you start to get hunted by this ghost and you have to keep track of where closets and chests and stuff like that are, so you can hide from it. It's got a little bit of that rotoscopy sort of thing. It had some really good moments. Had some decent scares, some really interesting design. The puzzles didn't always make a lot of sense.
Sure.
They were not flawless, let's say. And I actually, what's funny is the how do you put it? The video style art, like the motion stuff, was really cool and very low quality, pixelated, and really well done. But the still stuff has kind of this weirdly manga, like ninth grader doing manga in their notebook kind of quality to it, that I'm not as big of a fan of. But overall, I think it's one of those things that I forget how much it is. It's not expensive though. But if you liked Faith and you're looking for more of that sort of style, and it's worth a look. So, I think the
the publisher is Puppet Combo. So for anyone who's like a fan of horror games, Puppet Combo is one of those companies that's kind of just been around. They do a lot of old style graphics in their games. So they've been mostly a developer for most of their existence, but recently, the last couple of years, they've been getting into publishing games as well. And The Horror of Salazar House is one of the games that they published under their label Torture Star Video.
They're not mincing words, you know.
It's a great name.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. So that was worth a look, and I actually played it was basically the demo of like the prologue of an upcoming game called Rendezvous: Shadows of the Past. Okay. Which is another point and click adventure title. Has, I think, the best thing I could say for that one. It's really interesting because it's cyberpunk sort of game, future, neon lights, all that stuff. It's set in Indonesia, and the developer is from Indonesia.
Interesting.
Really, really interesting right off the bat. And the art style, I think, is the best thing about it.
Right.
It's also old-fashioned pixel-based kind of art, but it's gorgeous. The lighting is gorgeous. A lot of the choices they made with the designs for the in-game stuff. Again, I'm not as big on... They'll do some still images here and there, and they also had kind of a weirdly amateurish anime kind of thing. And I was just and I also don't care for that. It's like if your game is pixelated like that, why not just stick with that? But that's just a personal thing. But unfortunately, that was like the most I could really recommend it for. The designer is a very talented visual artist, and I think that's great. But again, the puzzles are pretty random. It needs better localization.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your first language. And frankly, how well am I going to get by in your language? Not good at all.
No.
But it might be worth it for them to look into having better localization with the dialogue and that kind of thing.
Right.
The audio is kind of out of sync, but it's got a combat system. At first you think you're just playing like a point and click adventure game.
Yeah, like a lot of the other horror games or whatever, or adventure games that have come out recently. It's like, no, there's no combat,
Right, yeah, but then you've got to do, and it would be fine, it's like, we got a combat system, whatever. But the combat system kind of sucks. It's like, you really should, don't bother. Yeah. Put your time into something else.
Extract that.
Right. But I think, again, this is the prologue. They're releasing the full game. I don't think even this year. I don't know. But I think with some work, and if they're listening to people, because it's a free download, you can get it on Steam.
Sure.
I get the impression they're listening to people, and it's a superficial take on it, but it's gorgeous. And I just feel like if they had a little more work put into the non-visual elements of it, they've got something there. It just needs some polish.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, that's me. What are you playing?
I started playing Sniper Elite 5.
Okay.
Because I forget who was tweeting about it, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. It is so much fun.
Yeah. Okay.
And I never get tired. So basically, the rundown is Sniper Elite 5 is. I assume it's a continuing story from the previous ones. I don't really know that much about it, but in Sniper Elite 5, you're playing a sniper who is dropped off behind enemy lines, and you're literally just there to kind of soften things up in preparation for D-Day. Like you're just doing some shit to make things a little bit easier for the Allies. And the fun thing about it is it's kind of like recent Mortal Kombat games where it does the X-ray. It like on recent Mortal Kombat games, there will be some combos where you'll see somebody like break their ribs or something like that. So if you get you're playing as a sniper, and if you get a good shot, it'll cut to a cinematic camera, and it'll follow the bullet flying through the air, and then as the bullet's approaching the person, it'll go into an X-ray mode, and it'll show the bullet hitting them, and then like the bones breaking away, and like the chunks and the viscera as like, and it's like, it's really cool, but at the same time, it also is like, oh, wow, guns are terrifying instruments of destruction, aren't they? Like I shot a guy in the mouth, and it was like it just went like this, and it basically like all of his teeth just like and jaw just like ripped away, and I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever done in a video game.
It kind of does. It almost does the opposite of what they're intending. Yeah, in a way, it's like, take a break.
But yeah, it is a lot of fun though. Playing as this sniper dude, and the name of the game is not direct confrontation. It's all like setting a truck to malfunction or something like that, running away, getting on your perch, and picking guys off as they investigate, stuff like that.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. So I've been playing Sniper Elite and
sweet.
Still playing Vampire Survivors, still trying to catch up to you on that.
Where are you at? What?
I have 101 out of 114 achievements.
Okay.
So and I actually got some of the new ones, the new achievements that just dropped today.
Nice
is what I got. So, and we say today that this is a couple. It was like a couple weeks ago when you're actually hearing this episode.
As far as y'all are concerned, this is a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And up next on my list of things that I want to play is Card Shark. Which is
I saw that today. That looked interesting.
Yeah, it's a new game from Nerial. Their previous game was Reigns, which was which was basically, it was like a little kingdom management simulator where you were just presented with a card and you chose one of two options on how to handle a problem. And you just tried to see how long you could live, but then there was also hidden like story threads that you had to like engage in if you figured out like, oh, there's like an Easter egg in this. So Reigns is a really cool game. I want to check out Card Shark, which is a card game that is literally about cheating. The goal is to cheat.
That's cool.
So you basically you're playing like poker or something like that, and you just have to figure out the best way to like. There's ways to like, from what I understand, there's ways to have like literal ace up your sleeve.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
there's ways to like set up mirrors so you can see the opponent's hand.
I gotta put that on my wish list. That looks. I took a look at that and it looked really interesting. And now
the goal,
sold.
It's not about playing fair. It's about cheating to win.
That's pretty cool. Okay. There's been some good games this year.
So that's what I want to play. Try to get into next. All of this, we'll share information about all of these games and probably be posting reviews on all these games on our brand spanking new Steam group for the PixelLit Podcast, where you could join and follow along. I will be adding links to that on our website, and we'll probably be adding that on our Twitter bio and tweeting it out and all that stuff. So you can. I'll also put it in the description of this episode, so you can just go. You can follow the PixelLit Podcast Steam group, and you can kind of take a look all the stuff that we talk about in the "What Are You Playing" segment, and all of the things, all the games that are related to the books that we talk about. We will be posting about in the PixelLit Podcast Steam group. So go check it out.
Hell yeah.
That will do it for today's episode. If you can, share us with your friends, your family. Retweet our tweets. Follow us on Twitter. We love a good retweet tweet.
We sure do.
Just retweet it and say, hey, these guys are great. Check them out. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at PixelLitPod. You can go to our website, pixelitpod.com. And that's pretty much all of our socials. You can find me at The Arcadeologist. You can find Phil at El Conquistador on Twitter. And do you want your Instagram out there?
Sure.
Yeah, bring Phil a Riesling. That's both a suggestion and his Instagram handle.
Right. It's mostly just me posting food I've made and wines I'm drinking.
And you can follow me on Instagram at PixelitKevin. So
hell yeah.
That'll do it for tonight's episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and have a good night.
Bye.